Hello everyone, welcome back. It's Benjamin Zaemisch, founder of Move, Learn, Create, and the creator of Themanicserenity, Serenity, where I help people to understand and then align themselves with the mechanics of creation, the mechanics of this life, so that we can access new levels of fulfillment and begin to consciously evolve further into the human possibility. Welcome back to episode 2. I hope you loved the first one where we looked at the concept of mastery and the bringing together, the unification of these two seemingly separate parts of our experience, where we have our really undefined, unmaterialized spiritual aspirations and longings, and then the real world where we strive to externalize our ambitions, to manifest our desires, and to live the life here and now that we're all seeking to live. So as I said, I'm going to follow that up with one more piece that I wrote 4.5 years ago, right before I got out of prison, during this incredibly intense, transformational, really indescribable time in my life. It's only gotten more intense and more indescribable as we go, but definitely this was such a key moment when I started to see clearly enough that the object of my ultimate desire, the ultimate possibility, the access, the potential for accessing inexhaustible fulfillment, moving from a life of never-ending unfulfilled desire to a living reality where you're immersed in perpetual fulfillment. I was beginning to see that this was indeed possible, that we don't all just go through our lives driven relentlessly by desire. That doesn't happen for nothing. The desire is there for a reason. It's because on some level we are already aware of our potential. We're already aware that we are whole, we are complete, we have everything that we're looking for. And if we didn't know that, we wouldn't be desiring it. It wouldn't be within our experience, but somewhere it is, and that possibility is available to all of us. The actual realization of this incredible potential, the living reality of the ineffable. This is available to all of us. So we started out by looking at mastery, and now we're going to look at the phenomenon of youth. This piece I wrote at the same time. I called it Youth and Senility, comparing the difference between what is youth truly, not the age, but the phenomenon of youth, the incredible energy, the incredible state of being. What is that actually? And when we compare it to its opposite, becoming senile, senility, when we lose all of that, no matter what age we are, that can go away. And the difference in our life experience is so phenomenal between those two states of being. And I thought that I should look at this, I should focus on this, and be able to clearly define for myself what it was that was happening, if I was going to be able to live in a way that would allow me to reclaim the magic of that youth, to access once again that state of being that we've all experienced. Maybe we can't remember it, maybe we only have a glimpse here and there of our own experience of it, but definitely everywhere in the world we see this. So I wanted to look a little closer into it. I should have said this in the first video, and I should stop saying but definitely subscribe, hit the like button, because oddly, apparently we live in a world where that matters. And share this. If it resonates, please share this with everyone. Anyone you feel that could be touched by the message. Maybe these words could actually play a role in bringing about some transformation, or at least being the impetus, the motivation for changes that will ultimately one day, with the proper guidance, the proper methods, the right frameworks, and the correct approach, those changes can lead to that ultimate transformation that we're all looking for. So thank you for doing that ahead of time, and let's get into it. So I'm going to address the phenomenon of youth and its opposite, senility. Youth is a surplus of energy, and the amount of youth that a person experiences and exudes is equal to the amount of surplus energy that they have access to. Senility is a deficiency of energy, and the greater the energy deficit a person is living with, the more rapidly they become senile. Now, obviously, young children are almost always completely filled with youth. But the source of their energy is not simply their age. The source is openness, which is a condition of their age. But except for in this period of early childhood, the task of remaining open to the flow of energy that produces youth is completely in the hands of the individual. It is this task and the obstacles that one will face along their journey that I want to focus on. You can only ever be given as much as you have the capacity to receive. I'm going to say that one more time because it's so fundamentally important. You can only ever be given what you have the capacity to receive. In order to receive, you have to be open or receptive. We are aware that we exist within infinity. Yes? We are aware that in every direction lies a vastness that defies description. And we know that incalculable forces surround us. Yet, we allow ourselves to complain of the limitations that we experience in our own lives because it never seems to occur to us that in a world of unimaginable abundance, we are lacking because of our own lack of receptivity to what is being offered. There is no conceivable end to the energy available to us, and there is no end to the channels by which that energy may reach us. But throughout our lives, we become more and more closed off to the immensity of what's around us by continuously constructing and reinforcing barriers within ourselves to uphold our own view of the world. And the way we do this is through our internal dialogue. We are entrenched in the defenses of our arbitrary beliefs and judgments in order to protect the fragile image that we have of ourselves. And this endless self-importance is reflected in our innermost thoughts. We are like birds that are chained to a pole. The pole is our ego. And even though we all have the wings to fly, we have doomed ourselves to a cyclical journey of wasted energy that will take us nowhere. And our internal dialogue is the chain that shackles us to our prison of petty judgments and self-concern. We all love to speak of new realms of experience and dream of going there to soar on the wings of limitless perception. So we name it all heaven. And then we pray to attain it, while all along we seek solace within our own minds through our incessant, self-serving affirmations of the way things are. Young children do not do this. They live in a constant search for things that are new, and they, without fear, remain open to the endless possibilities of the world around them. We look at them and their boundless, overflowing energy, and we can't help but smile. But since we can't understand it, we shake our heads and call it youth. Okay, there is one other, or another, really fascinating aspect of this phenomenon. And I was going to leave it out, but I saw that one of the synonyms of senility is senescence. Now, senescence is defined as the condition or process of deterioration with age and the loss of a cell's power of division and growth. Now, I'm not going to elaborate too much on this, but every cell in the human body is covered in receptor sites for the different things that it must receive in order to function. Different types of cells have different amounts of receptor sites for certain things based on what the cell's purpose in the body is. But one thing that they all have in common is that when they are repetitively exposed to one type of chemical stimulation, whether it's caused by a drug or an emotional reaction, the cells will reproduce themselves with more receptor sites for that particular chemical and less for the things that they need to function, which leads to aging and deterioration in the body. So, as humans, even at the level of our cells, our endless repetition and emotional addictions cause us to become less receptive to what is available, and as our minds become crippled, our bodies do as well. If you can sense within yourself the slightest feeling of awe and wonder for the world around you, if you are willing to just consider that there may be more available to you than what you have already seen, then your youth is still alive. But it is locked inside of you in a prison of addictions, habits, and fear, and guarded by the relentless repetition of your internal dialogue. I urge you to seek out silence, to pursue the new and unfamiliar, and free the magic of your youth. And I promise you that when you do, that same magic will be reflected back to you from every part of what will again be a wonderful, wonderful world. Oh, I love it. I'm glad I didn't go back and read that one. I haven't read that for quite a few years. I would have changed a few things to reflect a couple different aspects. But overall, absolutely perfect snapshot of this reality, this truth. We have it within us. We've already experienced it. Everything that we want is available to us right now. The journey now, the job now, our task at hand is to figure out how to unlearn the things that have become obstacles in our path. What are the conditionings? What are the foreign installations that we've allowed to set up residence within our being? What are the things that we have allowed to malign our true nature and manifest in our experience as limitation? To the point that now we're casually referring to this collective set of limitations as the real world. How did that happen? And what do we have to do to undo it? Because if we just look at it clearly, if we just accept that it has happened, that we had it, the potential is still there, and then maybe switch our perspective a little bit, we might find ourselves in a phenomenal position of power. Like, I don't know, maybe we're in an incredible position. Maybe we have all of this wisdom and all of these tools and all of these experiences and lessons that we've learned through our lives. We have all of these with us now as assets to help guide that potential, to help channel that youth, that energy. If we can just put in the work, cultivate the clarity, develop the inner power and the inner strength to allow it to re-emerge from within us because it's already there, then combined, that energy, imagine performing at the level of a 5-year-old with the wisdom and clarity that you have now. It's an unimaginable possibility. The magic is inexhaustible. So this was such a perfect way for me at that time in my life to articulate to myself that this was real, that this was within me, that the vision, the grand vision, the wild ambition, my most, unimaginably ambitious aspirations that people would call me crazy if I talked about them or just laugh at me like, that'll never happen in the real world. I had to be able to put it down in words for myself that no, this is very real. This is so tangible. This is so applicable and practical to actually pursue this way of being, to pursue this way of life and actually be able to get real results. And it's just so simple when you look at it through the lens of youth, when you actually clearly look at what that means and the implications of that for all of us. So that's episode 2 of The Manic Serenity. Thank you so much. Again, please subscribe, hit the like button because it matters. And although I don't actually understand why, but everyone else says it, so do it. And hit the notifications, hit the bell, let freedom ring, and then share this with everybody if it resonated with you. Please share this with everyone. I want everyone to understand that the object of their desires. I know right now that desire is attached to all of these different things in all of our lives. We've fixated ourselves on whatever the next thing is that we think we need to fulfill our desire, but that no, our desire is seeking something else entirely. Our desire is driving us, relentlessly driving us, because it's the nature of this life, to express ourselves fully, completely, to emerge from outside of our limitations, outside of our prisons, and embrace a new living reality. And never has there been a time where these truths are more accessible to each of us. Never has there been a time where you can take a perspective and an understanding like this and then couple it with an unlimited amount of tools and resources and knowledge and wisdom that's being shared from so many incredible people who have their voices out there right now. So if you can just see it, if you can just believe it, if you can bring these lofty ideals, these spiritual longings that we all kind of keep hidden, we don't really talk about them in our normal conversation, but they're there in all of us. It's bubbling right beneath the surface. If we can just now embrace it as part of the possibility and part of what is available to us as a human world right now, that these things have never been more accessible. These things have never been more possible. You are positioned in a way that no one ever in history has been. The time is now. The power is yours. The methods are available. Go to the themanicserenity.com, download the Momentum Masterclass, almost 3 hours of training, completely free, exactly step by step what I did after this point. How did I actually implement methods into my day-to-day life, no matter what it was that I was doing, no matter what job I had to work, how much time I had available or didn't have available. How could I live in a way that would, no matter what, guide me forward, always closer and closer towards the reality, the living, actual experience of what it was that at the time of writing this, I only had glimpses of. It's no longer a vision for me. It's no longer out beyond the horizon. It's here. It's now. It's available for you. The tools are there. Please go make use of them. Share them with whoever you can. And we'll see you back next week on the Manic Serenity. Thank you.